For your Father knoweth what things ye have need of before ye ask him. I'm sitting here pondering my scriptures and reading in the New Testament in Matthew chapter 6, verse 8. That was a verse that stood out to me, as well as verse 6, where it's just talking about praying in secret. And when you pray in secret, the Lord will reward you openly. And just thinking of that, thinking of, if God knows what I need before I ask him, well, then what do I ask him? I've been very flustered lately, and it's only by God's grace that I'm even just having some semblance of hope in the trials that I'm facing in my life. It was a very emotional morning. You can hear it on my podcast of today. It was awful. But I hope if you're having a bad day, that's something that can resonate with you and help you find hope. But I really do ask myself, if God knows what I need, then what do I ask him? And so, reading a few other verses in Nephi chapter 3, verse 15, Nephi is determined to get the brass plates and says, as the Lord liveth, we will not return to our father until we have the brass plates, or until we do as the Lord commanded. And so it makes me ponder and reflect, have I done the things the Lord has commanded? And no. I'm doing the things that he commands, but am I following the promptings exactly that he's given me? I'm doing it to the best of my abilities, but it's seemingly not enough, and just more and more the impression is to just do as he commands. And what I get from that is I can't continue to be blessed if I don't do as he commands. He has great things in store for me and for you, but we must do as he commands. And so I'm okay, I can do that. And then, how do we do as the Lord commands? What does he command? And in Genesis chapter 4, verses 4 and 7, it's just talking about Cain and Abel, how they brought their flocks. Cain brought the flocks, and Abel brought the firstlings of his flock, and of the fat thereof. Cain brought fruit. Sorry, did I say he brought flocks? Cain brought fruit, and Abel brought his flocks, which was how the order of things were to be had. And the Lord asked the questions, if thou doest well, shall that not be accepted? And okay, if we keep his commandments, it means we're doing well, and will we not be accepted? So to follow God's commandments, that means we can be accepted of him. Not, he's not accepting us out of heartlessness. He's just not accepting us because he also has laws by which he lives by, and so he wants us to return to him, and so he gives us those commandments so that he can accept us. And then in Doctrine and Covenants section 3, verse 9, it just stood out to me, something the Lord said to Joseph Smith. I think he had lost the translation of the 116 pages, but anyway, regardless, this is what I read, and in verse 9 it stood out to me, and it says, if thou art not aware, thou wilt fall. And so if we think about, God knows what we God knows what we have in need of before he asks. We must be determined as Nephi to do as the Lord commands before we return home. Before we return home to heaven, we must give the right sacrifices to be accepted of God. Use the right priesthood, make the right covenants. There's an order of things to be done. And then if we are not aware, we will fall. And it really circles it back to, praying in secret and being rewarded in secret. To not fall, we need the Lord's guidance to do those things. So those are just some thoughts from my study as I'm going through my trials. Like, it's not necessarily the answers I want to hear, but at the same time, like, it's what I'm already doing, and it just encouraged me to keep doing those things. So like and subscribe to the channel so you can get more thoughts and insights from the scriptures, to learn about Jesus Christ, to gain a testimony of him. And I invite you to study your scriptures too daily. Thanks.